damn it, John.
Well, hey everybody, this is Sportz Asylum. I'm Loaff, and with me I got LJ.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
We're just two sports junkies jumping in the podcast pool with everybody else. We're going to do a little bit of comedy, a little bit of pop culture, and a whole lot of sports. In case you didn't know it, we love the Chiefs, born and bred. So obviously, that's going to be our focus.
Yep, I've been a KC sports fan since I was 8 years old, and we just thought we'd share some of our opinions on KC sports in general, with the primary focus of the Chiefs, as Pete said.
So let's just jump right into week one. So week one, the Chiefs played the Ravens. The Ravens hate them. They say they don't, but they do. You know, you beat your little brother up all the time. They want to come back after you. It was a 27-20. Game was won just by a toe, but Chiefs came out victorious.
Yeah, it was a great game. I thought Mahomes on a couple of those throws was just off by inches. A couple of the running backs in the flats that could have extended drives, could have made a difference in the game. I think it wouldn't have been as close at the end, that's for sure, if those passes were completed. And of course, there's a play at the end, the final play.
Right.
Likely makes that catch, and it looks like Ravens are in prime position to snatch a victory from us. You got Harbaugh over there signaling for two.
Yeah, he's wanting to win the game right then, right?
Right, but wait. Replay shows his toe was out by one glorious inch.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God for the NBC camera crew, because they really nailed that, and it made it indisputable that he was definitely out. So inches do matter, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I was sitting there, and, when we watched it, I watched it live, maybe because I'm the Chiefs fan, but when I saw him catch it, I was like, man, he's got to be on that line. He's got to be. And then the replay came back, and I was like, thank God, because like you said, you see Harbaugh throwing the deuce up there, and you're like, shit, so we got to stop Henry, and we got to stop Lamar for two yards. I think
that defense is gassed. They're gassed.
Absolutely. They've been out there pretty much the whole fourth quarter,
Right.
while they're trying to come back. And here they are asked to stop them on a 2-point conversion. So glad that didn't come into the equation. I believe in the defense. I think they are one of the best, if not the best defense in the NFL, but I don't want to put any defense. I wouldn't want to put any of my defense in that position to win the game.
No, and first game of the season, they ain't played a game that long in 7 months. So, yeah, there wasn't a player on that field that wasn't gassed at the end, and so I think we dodged a bullet by not having to find out what happens on that 2-point conversion.
Right, and I mean, we've seen it time and time again as a Chiefs fan. These games come down to composure, right? Look at the Chiefs. Look at how they win. Look at Baltimore. Look at how they lose. Lamar still believes that he wasn't out. Likely sitting there, MFing everybody, walking out of the game. These are people, and this is the same thing that they've done every time they lose games.
Yeah. Confidence is quiet, immaturity is loud.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you don't think if any team is taking receipts, it's the Chiefs?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they're trying to three-peat, and they're going to use anything they can to slide them. I mean, we haven't even talked about 4, right?
Right.
Patrick being the 4th best player in the NFL. Are you kidding me? But if they want to give him some fuel and they want to continue to give Chiefs fuel, go for it.
I'm here for it. Yeah, absolutely. Mahomes definitely is a bulletin board material guy. He looks for that edge, that reason to motivate, to drive a little bit harder. And if he doesn't do it, Nick Wright will. So, you can always count on that. So there's plenty of bulletin board material out there, and teams just don't seem to get it. They just continue to give that to us. So keep feeding the fuel.
Yeah, and I mean, Jordan, all of them great players are always looking for that edge.
Absolutely.
And, when you're the Raiders throwing out the Kermit the Frog or whatever they decide to do, you don't think he can laugh it off. He says the right things. He does the right things because he's the best.
Right.
But Don't think he ain't throwing it in their face when he's out on the field. We've all heard him talk shit when he's out on the field. Patrick keeps it all, and he lets everybody know about it.
Yep.
So the Chiefs just beat Baltimore. And now we're on to Cincy, one of the better teams, we think, in the NFL, at least in the AFC. You know, we'll talk about them a little more towards the end of the podcast. And, you know, that's a polarizing game as it is. But that leads me to what I think is the big question is, what do you think the Chiefs' record is going to be at the end of the year?
I come to the conclusion that the Chiefs are going to go 14-3. I see them losing a few games here or there. I haven't pinpointed exactly which games they would be, but the Texans game looks tough late in the season. The Chargers, I think, are going to play us tough this year. I don't know if it's going to be on the road, which there really isn't a home field advantage for the Chargers at all, or if they'll find a way to steal a victory from us here.
The Chargers being Chargers.
Right. You just never know.
Right.
49ers could pose a challenge. They definitely have motivation to beat us. It makes it a challenge sometimes when a team has every reason in the world to beat you, since you just stole their Super Bowl dreams away from them.
I think that's the Buffalo syndrome, right? They come back and they beat you in the regular season, and then they got all that piss and vinegar out of themselves, and then when it comes to playoff time, the Chiefs get serious, and nobody can ever play up to their level. But, yeah, I would agree.
Week 11, it could be a challenge at Buffalo in November. That could be an interesting game. You could also look at the Raiders game coming here on Black Friday. The Raiders are going to treat that like their Super Bowl because they'll probably already be mathematically eliminated from the playoffs by that point.
Well, I will tell you that, I mean, I know it's stupid, but I think the Chiefs chase perfection, right? They're always trying to chase perfection. Are they going to get it? No, because I'm like you. I think they're going to slip up once or twice, but I'm going to go out on a limb and make them 16-1. Just because I think they are out to prove something. Like everybody says they can't three-peat. Nobody can three-peat. Nobody's ever done that. You know, again, a little more fuel to the fire. And you hear Travis talk about things like, we're not really worried about the three-peat. We're just worried about tomorrow, and we're just worried about getting a little bit better. And this is a 35-year-old guy who bleeds the Chiefs culture of, you know, just stacking good days on top of each other, you know, going to practice, making sure that you get done what you're done, and being responsible to your teammate.
Yeah, got great leadership on this team, from Travis to Patrick. When your two top stars basically work as hard or harder than anyone else, how can you not try to work at least as hard as those guys? So, I mean, I think it's a trickle-down thing. Their leadership, they can do it without having to speak, lead by example, but I think they're plenty of local leaders as well. So I think the Chiefs are in great hands. Plus, we keep retaining our coaching staff, and it's a great coaching staff. It's one of the best in the league.
Yeah,
it's no secret why the Chiefs are successful. And any player that comes in here has said that. I see why they win. The culture here is just different.
Yeah, I mean, Andy, you and I have talked about this off air, but, like, he never gets credit for Coach of the Year. Like I said, when I was looking at the betting odds, he wasn't even in the top 10. Here's a guy whose team could literally go for perfection, because I look at this and they are definitely, if Baltimore's the cream of the crop, you know, they can talk about, they want to see the Chiefs in the playoffs. That's the best they got. Well, the Chiefs could say, is that the best you got? Because we left some stuff on the field too. And if you think just because your toes being in is the reason that you guys lost the game, is wrong. But I could see the Chiefs being favored in every single game for the rest of the year. Maybe not the San Francisco game, but everybody else. Houston, it's at home.
Yeah.
You know, unless one of these teams comes out of, you know, nowhere and becomes a world beater. I mean, we're going to Buffalo, but is Buffalo? Yeah, they played good the other day, but, that's the way Buffalo is. Josh Allen's Superman again,
Yeah.
and that's how they win games.
Yeah, Josh had to basically shoulder it himself. Two touchdowns on the ground, 2 through the air. Basically, he's like, heck, screw it, I'll do it myself. And just willed his team to win because it didn't look like they were going to. Arizona had to lead the majority of that game. But Josh being Josh turned it around for him.
Yeah, I mean, if he had a legitimate coaching staff, and I hate to say it because, it's off the reed tree, right?
Right.
But if he had, and maybe that's what they're doing now, I can't say. I don't look at every little move that the Buffalo Bills do. But if they don't tear it down and build the team around him instead of, he's going to be a broken down man soon in the first place. They talk about Lamar getting beat up. He's taken more shots.
Yeah.
And gotten up more. I guarantee, I don't know the stats, but I guarantee he's played more games than Lamar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Lamar's had some injuries.
We know he's played more playoff games than Lamar.
Definitely.
So, and I mean, that's a whole other subject as well. If we go back to the Chiefs game and we talk about Isaiah Likely talking about his toes and this and that. Like, Lamar, if you put it in your receiver's hands and one of the 2 times before that, we're not even talking about this. And then you guys are going for 2. And it's a whole different ballgame. But when you miss your wide receivers by 10 feet, I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, you're a professional quarterback. And it's clutch. It's 2 minutes. It's what every kid feels like they want to do in their backyard. And you've dreamt about it your whole life, and then every time that situation comes up for you, you fail.
Right. Yeah. Lamar's not the quarterback I want with the ball with the final 2 minutes to go. I'd take Mahomes over him. I'd take Burrow over him. I'd take Josh Allen over him.
Absolutely, I would take any one of those, and there's probably a few more.
Yeah. Tua probably. Justin Herbert.
Regular season MVP does not make you the best player, right? It means you had a great season. And if you can run for 1,000 and throw for 3, yeah, that's a great season. But if you don't make it anywhere, cool, you're a regular season. That's like being a Triple Crown winner on a 70-win baseball team, right? Yeah, you're great. I mean, we're not talking about Bobby Witt. At least they're over 500 and they may make the playoffs, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yep, definitely.
So I think the Chiefs, I really do think they're going to go out and dominate this year. I think that they are on a mission to prove everybody wrong, that they want to show everybody that they're taking it serious. And even though, Travis is out there doing what Travis is doing in the offseason, and Patrick's the superstar he is, and all these other people that come in here, Rashee Rice. I still see, short of injuries, I don't really see anybody beating them. So I'll stick with that 16-1. I'll stick with them going for the three-peat. Of course, I'm a homer. I'm going to say they're going to three-peat, obviously. But I think they'll play Detroit.
Oddly enough, we are exactly in the same mind on that. I had Detroit advancing out of the NFC as well. Playing the Chiefs and Chiefs three-peating. There are some contenders in the AFC that could make the road difficult. I got the Jets coming out of the East. I see Ravens still the king of the North. South is definitely the Texans.
Right, yeah, for sure. I mean, Indy
Chiefs
gave them a run, but yeah, they came out of it.
Chiefs hold the West.
Yeah, so I could see, I mean, everything I see is pretty much the same as you. I mean, really in the AFC, everything's stat. The AFC East is the one that can go around. Is Miami going to come out on top? Is Jets going to come out on top? Is Buffalo going to come out on top? Really, I think a lot of that has to do is going to be injuries, right? Because, obviously Rodgers gets hurt, they're done. Allen, right. Any one of the quarterbacks gets hurt, they're done. I mean, obviously in Buffalo, they don't have much room up there for anybody to get hurt. 1 or 2 receivers goes down, they're done. I don't even see them having enough to take the Jets and Miami out. But, again, a great quarterback can take you a long way. So that's cool. In the Central, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore, they're all going to beat the crap out of each other. It's going to be like that. But yeah, Baltimore's going to come out on top. You know, they got more weapons. They'll get Derrick Henry running. I mean, they got a young offensive line. They'll gel. He'll get his yards, but he's not spring chicken, and he's not going to get a ton. You know, the West obviously is locked up. Harbaugh, he's a great coach, but it's going to take him time. Anybody that thinks he can make miracles in 1 year is wrong. I don't think Herbert's the answer. But, you know, they're definitely the second best team in the division, right?
Oh, definitely.
So
it's not even close.
Yeah, and then down in the South, Houston's got it. Indy's pretty good. You know, Jacksonville, I mean, did they already shoot their wad, right? You know what I mean? Is Trevor Lawrence a bust? Is he just another guy? Is he – I mean, he is what he is at this point, right? He's just, you know, a top 15 quarterback.
Right. Yeah. I don't see the Jags making the playoffs, to be honest, this year. I got Bills, Dolphins, and Steelers rounding out the wild card for the AFC. Bills, Josh Allen. He's still Josh Allen. They're going to run the ball. They'll play enough defense. I think they'll find a way to win enough games to get in. They're almost a perennial playoff team at this point. The Dolphins, they got the weapons to get there. It's just if they can stay healthy. They were beat up by the time they got to the playoffs last year. But it may not matter.
And stay out of jail.
Yeah, and stay out of jail. But it may not matter. They don't travel well on the road in January to cold weather sites. So.
Oh, hell no. Yeah, you're right. They don't.
And then I got with the Steelers, I think they got enough to edge out the Bengals in the North. I think Colts, Jags, Texans. I think the Texans are the class, and the other two teams will just beat up each other enough to keep either one of them from getting into the final wild card spot. I think the Jets just have too much. As long as, like you say, as long as Rodgers can stay healthy, but it would just be a cruel act, just cruelty for him to get injured again after 4 plays and he's down last season. That was just unbelievable.
Well, I don't know how cruel of an act it would be, John, to be honest with you.
He's not the most likable dude, but still, there's a lot of good guys on that Jets team. And they deserve They deserve a quarterback for a year or two. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson, obviously, and you team him up with Derrick Henry. I just think they're going to figure out a way to use Derrick Henry. They run the ball against everybody but the Chiefs. I don't know why they changed their game plan and their strategies against us, but they always seem to do so, even despite claiming they're not going to prior in the game. And the Chiefs are the class of the AFC West. Broncos are not ready. Bo Nix is not ready. The Raiders are not ready. They'll have a good defense. They'll play us hard. They'll talk a good game, and at the end of the season, they'll be looking at 6-11, 7-10, something like that.
Right.
They just don't have an answer at quarterback. When you got Minshew and AOC, you got 2 quarterbacks. You have no quarterback.
Right. Well, I saw Denver last night, and I don't know that they have a quarterback either.
Right. Yeah, but he's not the answer yet. I mean, he's a rookie. Give him time. So if you want to switch over to the NFC, we can talk about what we think coming out of those divisions. I like the Eagles in the East to edge the Cowboys. I think Jalen Hurts. They added Saquon Barkley there. I just think that's going to be a lot to deal with. They look pretty strong.
Man, he looks great there, doesn't he?
Yeah,
and I mean, he fits that offense perfectly.
Yeah, he looks like he should have been an Eagle his whole career, and it's definitely the best line he's ever ran behind. The Lions, I think, are the class of the NFC North, especially now with the injury to Jordan Love. Even though it's only going to be 3 to 6 weeks,
right?
They could lose, half those games, and the Lions put up a big lead, and I just don't think they're going to catch the Lions. The Lions are a loaded football team, both sides of the ball.
Absolutely, and their coaching staff is great.
Yeah, and how can you not like Dan Campbell?
Dude, I love his Applebee's commercials.
Right.
They're freaking amazing. I mean, how can you not love that guy?
Yeah, he's awesome. And Detroit's just such a good story. They've never won a Super Bowl.
Right.
They've been down for so very long. It's just kind of cool to see good things happening to franchises like that.
I'm just sick of seeing Eminem with his colored in beard, his Just for Men beard, because I can tell you right now that dude doesn't have that darker hair on his chin. Just saying.
Yeah, but he still wears that hair color. But
I mean, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. There ain't no doubt. But the GOAT is coloring his beard.
NFC South, I got the Bucks coming out of the South. Even with Kirk Russell there.
Kurt Russell, he's
I'm
over
sorry.
there, really?
Wow.
Wow, man, that's awesome. He was a hell of a football player and baseball player back in the day.
Even with Kirko over there as a quarterback for the Falcons, I just see the Bucks having too much. Baker looks like a natural fit there. Brown's got to be hating life. Baker looks like a legit quarterback, and Deshaun Watson looks like a bum, and a bum that they can't get rid of.
Did you just say Deshaun Watson was in the South, in the NFC South?
No, I didn't say he's in the South. I'm saying.
Oh, he looks like. I gotcha.
Bucks. Baker was a former Brown quarterback.
Gotcha.
The Bucks looking like a legit quarterback.
Yeah.
While Deshaun Watson back there at Cleveland looking like a bum. Cleveland's got to be hating life right now.
Right.
Out of the West, NFC West, 49ers. They just got too much. They're just too strong of a team. I just don't see. I think the Rams will play them tough. I think the Seahawks will play tough. But at the end of the day, the Niners are going to take that division. Arizona's not ready. It's going to be pretty easy for the Niners to take that. I see the Cowboys securing one of the wild cards. That's what they do. They play great in the regular season, and then they go out like a lamb in the playoffs. So I see them one and done, but I do see them making as a wild card, probably the 5th seed. I also got the Packers. I think they'll still make it, even with Jordan Love being injured in the beginning of the season. I think they'll do enough to get into the playoffs. Then I got the Rams taking the final spot.
Gotcha. Well, for me, I think we see things a lot the same way. We had the benefit of actually, seeing the first week, so we get a little bit of an advantage of seeing this stuff. But I think the East is a toss-up between, the Eagles and the Cowboys. Let's see what the Eagles coaching staff does this year. It was pretty obvious last year that that's the problem.
Right.
Like the disconnect between Sirianni and Hurts was obvious, right?
Oh,
and at the end of the year, they talked about it. So even though Saquon comes out and he puts 3 touches on the board, tutties, as Travis says, I'm still not sold, right? I think Dak's got something to prove. Do I think Dak Prescott is a great quarterback? I don't. Do I think guys in money years play better than they do other years? Absolutely, I do. So I think he's going to try and go out and win this division and play his ass off and play hurt and do whatever he can. So I will say I think the Cowboys are going to take this division. Now, the North, we're on the same page. Everybody was on this whole Packers are going to be this and that. Like, I get it. They got some good players, and they're young, and Jordan Love is good. And hell, Jaden Reed went off last week, They do have players in their name, but are they there yet? Maybe. To me, they're Houston, right? They got, even though Jordan Love is in his 3rd year, 4th year, whatever the hell it is, it's the same story, right? A young team, young quarterback, first time starting, same thing. They both have things to prove. So I was never sold on that anyway. Minnesota, obviously, your quarterback, you draft a quarterback, he gets hurt. You got a journeyman starting for you. Even though you got Justin Jefferson, you do have some other players. You ain't got a shot in hell in winning that division, right? We go down the South. I think it is a 2-way. It's Atlanta, Tampa. I don't know. It's hard to say because I think Atlanta's the better team, right? I think they have more talent on offense. Maybe not so much on defense, but I do believe they have more talent on offense. I do. I think really, we can argue about this, here, but I personally think that now that there's a quarterback, you'll see Pitts step up. You'll see London step up. They already got Bijan, and he's already proven that he's good. They got a good line. So, is Baker got better receivers? Probably as a core. But, he doesn't have a receiver as good as that. He doesn't have a running back as good as that. I don't know about the offensive lines. I didn't go into it that deep, but that's kind of the way I'm at. So I'll just, just to be on the other side of you, I'll go with Atlanta, right? And then in the West, the West is all about coaching, really, right? And to me, that means two teams, San Francisco and the Rams, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, McVay's shown that even despite losing Aaron Donald and, not having a first-round pick for God knows how many years, he still stays competitive. Now he's starting to get a first-round pick. He's starting to get money back. So there's no reason for me to believe that they're not going to be a playoff team, right?
Right.
Are they the best in the West? No. That's still San Francisco. They're still there. Now, one of the only reasons I didn't want to put San Francisco in the Super Bowl is because I don't want to see it a third time. I prefer to see Dan Campbell and the boys. I prefer to see that circus hit the Super Bowl. So that's a personal preference of what I do it. And for you, again, the Eagles are going to be a wild card, right? They're going to sit there. Tampa Bay is going to be another wild card, and I think the Rams will round that out, right? So that's what the NFC looks for me. With the Lions coming out of the top, I don't know who and what they're going to play on the way. Nobody knows, but that's what it looks like for me.
So we have the same 7 teams in the NFC.
Yeah.
Just different, whether they win a division or take the wild card, basically. And those do look like the 7 strongest teams.
I mean, I think really, especially when you look at the NFC, it's the haves and have-nots, right? I mean, right. There's not much. You think Arizona can beat the Rams or Seattle? Seattle's got nothing. Geno Smith and, a bunch of receivers that got Geno Smith.
DK Metcalf.
But they got Geno Smith.
They got some players.
Yeah.
And Geno's playing the best ball he's been playing his whole career.
And they got a rookie coach who's a defensive coach. So, yes, I know Geno's playing the best ball in his career, but what does that mean? That means he's just playing pretty good.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's going to.
You remember when the Chiefs had the first pick in the draft and they let him go to the second round?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So, that's still what I think about Geno. So, yes, he's fine, and I'm glad he's Seattle's quarterback. And I'm sure Denver would love to have him because what they have is trash.
Yeah, I think Bo Nix has got a lot to prove. I'm not sure that he's the answer, but then again, I can't make a judgment after just the one game. He did look like a game manager, a lot of checkdowns, but I expect Sean Payton's going to do that with him in the beginning, bring him along slowly, try to build up his confidence.
He had a weird throwing motion. Did you not see that?
Yeah, it does look a little funky. But after watching Patrick Mahomes fling it from any different angle, who's to say what's the proper throwing motion anymore?
I'm not saying that. I just thought maybe it was me. I was watching it, and it looked like he was just, I don't know. It just looked weird coming out of his hand. That's all I could say. I was like, it's like maybe 3/4 or more sidearm. But anyway, when I saw him, I was like, I thought that was a little strange.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that he won the starting job, but.
He was picked by Peyton. Peyton was going to start him regardless, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I had these other jokers last year, at least this year. They went up and got him. What do you think they're going to do? Yeah. You know what I mean? Maybe let him sit for 3 or 4 games, which is the Mahomes pattern. And I just watched a thing with Brady. He said the same thing. He thought the ideal thing was to sit for a year, learn everything you can, and then start your second year. Right. And this is from the GOAT.
Yeah.
And guess what? The new GOAT did the same fucking thing.
Yeah. Agreed. And it definitely has not hurt Patrick Mahomes' career at all. We lost 1 year of prime Patrick maybe, but I think in the long run is what we needed. And
well, look at Bryce Young, right?
Yeah.
They're going to ruin that kid. If they would have just let him sit last year and let somebody, journeyman, take the lumps, show him how to train, show him how to do everything he needed to do, instead of throwing the whole franchise on his shoulders and saying, you're the man. I get it. It comes with being the number 1 pick. I get all that. But if you really want your player to be successful, even in business,
Right.
You give him time to, assimilate the job, figure it out, do the things that they get to see how other people are successful.
Agreed. Yeah, Bryce Young is definitely looking like a bust at this point. But I think it has a lot to do with the fact that maybe they shouldn't have took him. Maybe they should have traded out of that spot, accumulated some picks, built some talent, get a talented team, and then you go draft your quarterback.
Yes.
Or get somebody in there, like you said, and have him be able to sit for a year. But throwing him in there with no weapons, and you traded DJ Moore away that year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you could keep Brian Burns, and Brian Burns ain't there now either.
Yeah.
So bad moves, bad front office, and that's what you get with bad franchises. We didn't get good until we brought the right coach in and the right GM combination, and then they went out and got the right quarterback.
Right.
That's the three pillars of any good, successful franchise. I think New England got away with just having two of the three and just had some other dude that basically is some figurehead for Bill Belichick.
Well, Belichick was the GM, so they did have all three. They just had it in two people, which, hey, in Veach we trust. I think he's the best GM without a doubt. But you don't know how much Andy's saying, yo, I want this guy or I want that guy. This is what I see. I believe that Veach is probably the one that's making those decisions, but you just don't know. We don't have that kind of access. So that really wraps up week number 1 for the Chiefs and kind of our division winners, what John and I think that the next year is going to look like. We both think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. So that's going to lead us on to our next section, which is called...
What kind of fans would we be if we didn't?
Yeah, right? I mean, and that's what we are. Like, we're not journalists.
Nope.
We're not guys that went to school and got a degree to write stuff. We're just two dudes that want to talk about the Chiefs, and we're, I guess, sick enough to want to put it out there for the rest of you to hear it.
Right, and then just catch the verbal abuse that I'm sure is coming. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, trolls, bring it on, man. Just bring it on.
We got thick skin. It's okay.
So you've probably seen it everywhere, and I know I've seen it everywhere. And you watch New Heights podcast. Anywhere you see Travis or Jason, you're gonna see garage beer. So. I was wondering about it. LJ was wondering about it. We were trying to figure out what the hell was going on. I read about it. Looks like they apparently went down and bought themselves a beer company. And now I guarantee it's freaking gone through the roof, right?
Right.
So I saw they have 2 beers. They have the Classic Light, which we have here tonight, and then they have a lime beer. I saw. And just so you know, it's being sold in all the high-quality places. I grabbed my 12-pack at Walmart yesterday. They had a whole wall of it, a literal wall of it. So they're marketing to the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, from never hearing about it a few months ago to it being everywhere now, it's shocking how fast that happened.
It's gonna be the beer to drink. Like they're like, we'll take over Yingling, we'll take over Bud Light. You know what I mean? I mean that's a hard place to go, but I mean. They went from nobody knowing who garage beer is to everybody knowing who it is. I mean, I'm sure Taylor's probably got it in her stuff.
Yeah, her shows.
They're probably selling garage beer on the Eras tour.
Oh, it would not even shock me.
She's probably getting drunk up there in the suite on Garage.
Right.
She's up there dancing around, getting shit faced.
Yeah, just looking at the color, I don't think this is kind of on par with Yingling. But it definitely looks like that'd be a beer that would take shots at Bud Light.
Well, you're the beer connoisseur,
right.
And you know me, the more domestic it is, so I say the more watered down it is.
This is probably going to be right up your alley.
Oh, absolutely. Just from looking at it, it looks like urine, so it's probably, the kind of beer I like. I usually don't like my beer with stuff floating around in it.
Right.
I like a nice yellow color. A little bit of foam at the top, you know what I mean? This, also this looks like in Japan they have Sapporo. It has their own beer, right. And they have a light beer that's very comparable to Bud Light.
Right.
So this kind of reminds me of that, but that's more of a rice beer. But anyway, let's take a drink. Let's see what it is. All right, down the hatch.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's a little more sour than a domestic, right? It's a little more hoppy. I think it does taste more like I don't know, more like a wheat beer than just a straight.
Yeah, I definitely pick up a little wheat beer. I love Boulevard wheat.
Right.
I get a little of the wheat in there. I can see through it, unlike the Boulevard wheat, but very good. I liked it. I would definitely drink more of that beer.
Well, you got plenty of it here, and we got all the time in the world, so please have at it.
Right.
You know, I think it's pretty good. You know me, I'm not a big beer guy. Like I say, I like it generally tasteless, you know? But I drink it like if I went into a bar and they were like, we have light or we have, Guinness or we have Garage, I'm drinking Garage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it compares favorably to like Miller Lite, I would say.
Yeah, it has that kind of, like I say, I can't describe it, but that bitterness to it. It's a little bit sour. Right. Yeah, I think it would compare to it, like, because I don't really like Miller Lite because it's kind of sour. I know it's one of your favorites.
Well, I mean,
but I do get that from it.
I wouldn't go as far as favorite.
Well, you prefer it more than I.
Right. No, I mean, I always chose Miller Lite over Bud Light. It's been that way for a long, long time. But no, Boulevard Wheat's my favorite. I love Yingling. And during the summer, I don't mind a good summer shandy. But Garage beer, yeah, I would definitely order that. If they didn't have anything else, any of my other beers, my preferred beers on tap. But yeah, Garage beer, they're going to sell a lot. They're going to sell a lot.
You know what? If it tasted like Natty Light, they're going to sell a lot. It doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? And
Busch Light doesn't matter.
You know what?
Coors Light.
You may want to set that next to some Natty Light and some Milwaukee's Best, and
blindfold.
it might, yeah, that might be the next thing that we do.
I don't know. This is exactly the ringing endorsement.
Dude, I think it's totally awesome. I think it's a totally great idea, and I think on the next one, we need to blind taste test 4 or 5 different beers. We'll do Miller, we'll do Natty, we'll do Milwaukee's Best, we'll do Garage. What else can we throw in there? We can throw some Bud Light in there, maybe.
Milwaukee's Best.
Milwaukee's Best. Well, the light. We got to do light.
Right.
We got to do light.
God.
Yeah, I think let's just line it up.
Scraping the bottle.
Yeah, let's just and we'll just rank them 1 through 5, and we'll see who comes in the best. We're just gonna go buy the shittiest beers we can buy. Okay, let's make this clear. We're just gonna go buy trash beer and then put Garage with it. So, and then we're gonna blind taste test it. And if Garage is really good, it's gonna be very easy to tell.
Right.
Which one is which. But if it's not.
Okay, that seems like a fair test.
It does seem like a fair test. I mean, we could go get, some good beers and put them in there, but you're going to know the difference. Like, you can get a Yingling, you can get Bud Light, you can get whatever the hell you want, and we can put it in there. I don't really care. I would rather it be that way, but I mean, there's only so many beers you can put to compare that. Like, you can't go get a German beer, you can't get a European beer, and you can't add it in there. You can't get a hoppy beer, you can't go get a domestic
IPA.
I mean, you're basically stuck with domestic beers such as Milwaukee's Best, Natty Light, Bud Light, Coors Light, Keystone.
Is Keystone still a thing?
Oh yeah, Pall Mall and a Keystone, baby. Sits out on his front porch with his flea-infested dogs. That's Hardy, in case you didn't know. That's Jim Bob. All right. Anyway.
I did not know.
Yeah, I got to throw some of that pop culture out there. Right. So, I guess for Garage beer, for me, Loaff, I say it's a win, at least at this point. Now, again, I haven't had a beer in 4 years, so it tastes pretty good. So for me, I say it's a win. For you, LJ, what do you think?
I'd say it's a win as well. I definitely liked it, and I've had a lot of beers that I did not like. So we'll go with that.
Okay. So next time we're gonna do the blind taste test. We're gonna go get a bunch of beers, and we're gonna do it. And we'll bring in a couple people also, some guests to do it.
Right.
Because I can tell you, I don't want to get drunk. So we'll bring somebody in, and I'll make sure they get home.
You don't have to taste it. You don't have to finish it.
Well, that's what they say.
Yeah.
The good,
The bad.
the ugly. This is the good, the bad, the ugly. This is our new feature that we're trying to do where LJ and I, we talk about what we liked and what we didn't like in the NFL Week 1 and a little good, bad, ugly kind of thing. We're only missing Clint Eastwood, really. So what we're going to try and do here is I think we'll just throw this back and forth to each other. That's the first time we're going to try and do this. So I'll throw LJ the good, and he'll throw it back to me, and we'll just kind of work with it that way, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. So, John, in the first week, what did you think was good?
I mean, I'd be foolish not to start with Worthy, obviously, right? Well, I mean, how can you have a better debut than that?
Right. 2 tutties.
Right. His highlight reel looked like a cheat code. And by halftime, you got everybody Googling how fast is Xavier Worthy. Faster than you, me, and your internet connection.
Right.
I'd also like to take a moment to thank the Buffalo Bills for their continued generosity. Once again,
right.
You trade with us and give us a superstar of the future. We got Mahomes in 2017, thanks to your generosity, and now we got Worthy. I think we owe you a Christmas card at this point, with the video of all their touchdowns that they scored for us.
Yeah. I hope Keon Coleman is a good wide receiver. That's all I can say. For me, the good is really NFL's back. Wait all year for the NFL, right? You know what I mean? I mean, we're only going to have Patrick for once in our lives, and God, I wish he could play every week of the year. Obviously, he wouldn't survive. Nobody would survive, but when you have somebody like that, and you have a Brady, you have a Mahomes, you never want to not watch football.
Oh, absolutely.
So glad it's back. I mean, even college, hey, I'm glad college football and the PS5 is back, to be honest with you. But that's another story. But I am totally glad that it's back. Sundays have meaning again besides, just trying to keep yourself busy. Now I just guess what? It's Sunday. I'm watching TV. So I'm glad for that. There's nothing like a football Sunday, smoking some ribs, watching the Chiefs game, even though it was Thursday, but you know what I'm saying, and just chilling out all day, watching good football, hoping you get a couple good games. Sometimes you get stuck with, Cleveland, Atlanta, or something like that, but hell, it's still NFL football.
Absolutely. Though, tried NFL Red Zone first time this week. Loved it.
Yeah, it's badass, isn't it?
I could watch football any other way, unless the Chiefs are playing. Of course, I'm going to watch that game. But when they're not playing, I'll be doing the NFL Red Zone going forward. That was an experience that it just blew my mind. I couldn't believe how cool it was just going from game to game to game, getting to see all the scores. And then at the very end, they do every touchdown that day. And that's a cool segment, too. Thumbs up all the way on that. I can't believe how late to the party I was on this one.
Well, NFL and NFL Films does everything fantastic, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't surprise me that Red Zone is badass. Well, I mean, they're only the number one sport in the United States because they're not stupid. Right? So, okay. That is, the good. That's what we really liked. What was the bad? What didn't you like this week, John? What was it? What did you see that you thought was not good?
It's probably me being a little nitpicky.
Yeah.
But, when you're chasing a three-peat and you expect your team to be great every time out, so there's little things you're like, okay, well, that could have been better. I'd say the O-line as a whole didn't have the best of the night. I thought the pass protection wasn't great. They were back going after Pat quite a bit. Pat got knocked down more than I'd like to see, especially in a game to where I didn't feel like we were throwing so terribly much to where he should have been getting knocked down as that much. I thought the run blocking was a little bit better. It could still improve, but I thought they opened some holes here and there. But I definitely was concerned about the pass protection. And then
Oweh ran right around Kingsley one time. I mean,
Right.
He didn't even touch him.
Right. I mean, Kingsley had a pretty decent.
I'm not
day.
saying he didn't,
Up
but
and
I'm just
down.
saying Oweh ran around him one time, just literally didn't even touch him.
Oh, absolutely. But he made a key block on more of these first touchdown.
Yeah.
So I mean, ups and downs with
Of course.
Keesley. I watched
Yep.
enough to watch him, and I tried to focus on him the second time I watched the game, just to see how he was doing. I thought he had ups and downs, but pretty good debut for a rookie, and especially considering we weren't putting anyone over there to help him. We weren't sending anybody over there to chip. We weren't lining a tight end up over next to him. He wasn't getting a bunch of help. We was put him out on an island, said, "Go do your job, young man," and for the most part, he did it.
Absolutely.
So I can't complain about that. The only one little area I'll be nitpicking again, I thought the red zone offense, the penalties down there, when we get in the red zone, we can't afford to keep having the penalties. I remember those from last year hurting us a lot of times, and I don't want to see that occur again this year. We had a couple that I think hurt our drives and resulted in Butker field goals. And if those don't go down like that, maybe we aren't talking about Isaiah Likely's toe on the line at the end of the game.
Absolutely. Yeah. For me, really, the bad, and it's kind of leans into your good, is Buffalo. Like, dudes, you guys keep doing it. And I've seen so many TikToks and so many videos and so many pissed off people about how the hell could you let the Kansas City Chiefs get the fastest player in the draft? How do you let them get this guy? How do you let him move up? They've already snaked you so many times. How do you let him do it again? Well, thank you is all I can say. They should probably stop trading with the Chiefs because it hasn't really worked out for them. Hey, you know what? Like with Patrick Mahomes, they got Tre'Davious White and they got a bunch of other stuff. They got a lot of great players. But what they didn't get was Patrick Mahomes. And that's what they're going to live with forever.
Yeah.
So for me, the bad is Buffalo trading their picks away to get a couple extra picks so the Chiefs could get the guy they want.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't believe Buffalo did make that trade with us. I'm still shocked about it a little bit to this day.
I mean, I was with you, so.
But the best take I saw was, and I don't remember the guy's name from the Pat McAfee show, but he's basically urging all NFL fans to hate the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And for that very reason, for them to continue to trade with the Chiefs. They gave us Mahomes, now they gave us Worthy. He goes, we need to if we don't come together on nothing as a nation, we need to come together on hating the Buffalo Bills. And I thought that was the funniest take I heard on this since this all went down and Worthy should put up the 2 touchdowns on opening night.
Yeah, well, once we get this up on video and we can start showing all this stuff, we'll be able to drop all these memes and we can start showing these people what we think. So that leads us to our last one, the ugly, right? What is ugly, John? What do you think was ugly about week 2?
Oh my God, I got a few. So humor me.
Okay.
I thought it was kind of ugly that the weather would delay the start of the game. We waited 7 months. Seriously? Come on, Mother Nature. I thought 452 yards given up by our defense, which is the most we've done since 2021, was a bit on the ugly side. I know we're going to get better.
And Baltimore's good.
And Baltimore's good. And Spags we trust. And I think a lot of those yards came in the fourth quarter.
Catch-up yards, absolutely.
Yeah. But it was a glaring number.
Yeah,
it was a big number.
They could have won that game.
The announcer, Collinsworth, I mean, just having him's going to be ugly. You know it is.
Which one?
Chris. I
okay.
mean, he actually said that Lamar has improved as a pocket passer. I mean, surely, Pete, Chris knows that we can see Lamar throw the ball, right? He knows that we can see this. Why would he make a statement like that?
He owns PFF. How can he even say anything like that?
Right, exactly. Let's see. Some of their post-game comments are great. I love these. Lamar, I still think it's a TD. Dude, have you seen the replay? I mean, really seen the replay. Yeah. I mean, he has to have seen it by now. Surely he doesn't still believe it. And if he does, well, that explains a lot.
Well, I mean, that explains why he missed 2 open receivers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But we won't talk about that because, they just want to talk about how if that had been a Chiefs, I saw some people on Twitter saying, if that's a Chiefs receiver, that would have counted as a touchdown. I'm like, seriously, did y'all miss the Buffalo Bills game last year when Tony lined up with a foot on the line of scrimmage? Yeah. We don't get away with that either.
Yeah.
Thank you. Despite
D Ford.
Yeah. There's a lot of instances of us being offside or a foot on the line where we didn't get that call that cost us games. So I can't feel your pain, Baltimore. And then Isaiah Likely dude, seriously, this quote just unbelievable. I'd say this is probably the worst game we're going to play all season, and if this is the best they've got, good luck in the postseason. Seriously, the Ravens talk a lot for a team that has one championship appearance and 3 playoff wins since 2013.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all they do. And, that kind of puts my ugly, and my ugly is likely. And it's for that. And on top of that, you saw the reactions to how he was to the fans. He was flipping everybody off and MF and everybody on the way out. I mean, the guy's got no class whatsoever.
No.
I mean, and that leads back to what we said again. The champions win with grace, right? If the Chiefs would have lost that game, it would have been Baltimore was the better team today. We didn't bring, our A game, and if we don't break our A game, we can't beat a team like Baltimore. Baltimore loses to us, and is that all they got? They better be ready for us at the end of the year. Well, you know what? Make the playoffs, assholes. You know what I mean? You ain't shown me anything that shows me that you guys are great. You got Derrick Henry. What do you get, 60 yards, 50 yards? Less than that, I think. Yeah. I mean, you got one of the best weapons in the offseason, and you just let Lamar do what Lamar does. He's Lamar being Lamar, right? He's running around, getting a whole bunch of yards, and losing games.
Yeah. 60% running back, 40% quarterback.
Right. So, really, the ugly should be Baltimore as a whole, because the way they handled the situation was not graceful at all.
No. And then Roquan talking about whoever 88 is better watch himself. Yeah. Saying that he pushed him from behind. Well, he did. I saw it. Yeah, I saw that.
He's my new hero.
But this is after you shove Mahomes down to the ground while he's 2 yards out of bounds on the Chiefs sideline, no less.
Right.
Roquan's lucky. That's the worst thing that happened to him.
Well, I will say Peyton Hendershot's my hero for being a guy with no armor protecting him like these guys do, and still wanting to get in a fight with a guy who's got a helmet on, and he's standing there wearing a T-shirt. So, that guy's a winner in my book because he's sticking up for a guy and teammates he just met a week ago.
True. That's how you endear yourself to your new teammates, by the way.
Right, and, absolutely.
That will definitely go a long way for him being part of this team going forward.
Yeah, even though he's just going to be playing special teams and be a fourth tight end. But, hey, he's in the NFL and he's getting a paycheck.
Absolutely.
He was probably going to get waived, and that's why he's got a 7th-round pick and he's here because they were going to cut him if he didn't.
Yeah. They probably didn't have room for him, so we'll take him. There's always room for special team players, and guys got a little fight in them apparently, so I like it.
Well, enough with that. There's a few things that I kind of just want to bring up, as before we get into the second game of the year against the Bengals and, what we think is going to happen over the next week. I kind of want to just talk about what do you think is going to happen with the players this year? I will tell you that I think Patrick's primed for a 50-50, but I don't think he's going to get a 50-50. I think everybody looks at him. A 55,000 is what I mean, not a 50-50, but I think he's primed for it. I just think that teams are so geared to not let him beat them that I think it's almost impossible for him to get to 50. Now, maybe if Hollywood steps in here and Hollywood and Xavier on the other side and Travis in the middle opens up it a little more than what I just saw. But from what I saw, I just don't know that they can have that 18 offense.
I don't know. I think they can. You got Worthy and
absolutely.
Hollywood.
I agree.
The field. You didn't mention Rice.
Right. No, I didn't.
Dude, Rice was just eating it up.
He's the number one guy.
Yeah, he's absolutely our number one. He's
absolutely.
Wide receiver one. 7 catches, 103 yards, first game. It felt like more.
Right, it did.
Really did.
Yep.
5 of those resulting in a first down. So he's moving the chains. He's racking up the yak. Rice is every bit wide receiver one to me. But we'll see how that role changes, or if it changes when Hollywood gets back.
There's no reason it should change.
No,
he is the number one receiver.
I think so too, but I think Hollywood's going to have to eat too a little bit.
Well, of course he is, but he's he's never been a guy that just wants to go over the middle to get his.
You ain't going to make a living off fancy players in the Chiefs team this year. I don't think so, because there's just not enough
Rice.
players. Rice maybe, Kelsey maybe, but I think they're gonna where you have to spend the draft to get Kelsey, you're not gonna get the value probably,
Right.
Because he ain't gonna be able to get as many catches this year. I don't think, because we got too many other weapons.
Yeah. So, what do you think, Pat? You think Patrick can do 55,000, right? Somewhere around there.
I definitely think he can break 5,000 again.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's feasible. And 50 touchdowns. I'm thinking more like 45 probably, but I'll take that. That's a good year. If he gets near 50, I think we're getting another MVP out of him.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Those kind of numbers. And
rightfully so. And I honestly, I think any year that he doesn't win an MVP, I'd have to ask why, except for last year.
The problem is the defense. Like, the defense is never going to make him have to chase points. Right?
Yeah.
So he's never going to have to be chucking it and getting the yards. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how bad we miss Snead and Gabe before this is all over. But I do think we're going to miss him for a while, especially Snead. That guy's going to be hard to replace.
Of course.
The physicality he brought.
Yeah.
Wasn't afraid of anybody.
100%.
I love the fact that we just line them up on their best, and their best didn't have a good game good game. And he was in their face the whole game. Loved Snead. Still do. Wish him the best down there in Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely.
When he plays against us.
Yep. So that leads to Travis. You just brought him up. He's 35 this year.
Yeah.
You know, he's the oldest tight end to do what he's done. I mean, he's a unicorn, basically, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Gronk was gone by now, you know?
Well, Gronk.
I'm just saying, he was beat up.
Gronk lived a little harder off the field, I think.
Well, maybe,
but I think Gronk style, Kelsey doesn't always lean into the contact. Gronk looked for it.
Understood, and I'm just saying that 35 for a guy who plays up on the line, even though Travis hasn't played. And, hey, man, you know, he ain't getting any faster. I can tell you that now.
Well, no. But
you know what I mean?
So,
absolutely. To your point, there's so many people that eat that I don't think he gets to 1,000. I think that he actually regresses off the 900 that he had last year, and he gets somewhere around 800, right?
Oh, he didn't have 1,000 last year?
No, because remember he sat out the last game because he didn't want to break it because it was meaningless to him. But I don't think that. Like, I think if he goes for 1,000 yards in the regular season, he's not playing for the playoffs. Like, I think he's all about winning the championship, and I think he's just going to be like, if we're winning, let Noah play. Let everybody else play. I don't need to be out there. Let my body rest. That's just my opinion. So I don't really see him trying to break records or trying to go for numbers, and they don't need him to do that.
You mean the same guy that bumped into Andy Reid over not being on the field last year in the Super Bowl? You're telling me he's going to be cool just sitting on the sideline a bunch? I don't think that's in his DNA.
I think he will in wins when they got the game in hand.
Maybe when we got game in hand, he'll come out a little early. But it's just not in his DNA. He loves the game too much. He loves competing too much. He said it many times. Where else can you get this kind of rush, this kind of competition, this man against man?
Understood.
Trying to beat your fellow man, trying to win. Because you get that nowhere else. So I don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe it'll be by design. But they brought Wiley in for a reason. They re-signed Noah and extended his contract. So yeah, I imagine they're going to try to give those guys some more playing time, and we'll cut into Kelsey's, I guess. So maybe he won't hit 1,000 again this year. I just think he will, because I think it's going to be hard to double team him like they have in the past.
Homer pick.
Yeah, probably.
Well, that's cool. We're running long. Let's just throw a couple other things in here because obviously we just saw Worthy blow up, right? Mm-hmm. 2 touchdowns. In his first game, the last Chief to do that was Kareem Hunt, right? Mm-hmm. First time, and then before that it was much longer than that. But saying that, what do you think Worthy's going to do this year?
I think this kid could. I don't know that he's going to have a ton of yards, but I think he's going to have a lot of touchdowns. I think Reed's going to scheme ways to get that ball in his hands where he can utilize his speed. I think teams are going to lose track of him, trying to keep track of Kelsey and Rice and Hollywood, and how you can forget the fastest guy in the NFL or the fastest 40 time ever ran in the NFL. How you can forget about him, I don't know, but it happened already. We've seen that for game one.
Right.
I mean, I assumed he thought he had safety coverage over the top when Marlon Humphrey just let him run on by him. But, I think we're going to see a lot of that. I'd say 750 yards would be a great season for him. And I think he can hit double-digit touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean,
he's already got 2.
No, understood.
Eight more and he's there.
Right. We know how Andy Reid was till last year with receivers, right? And he did but again, he fed Rice more in the end of the season than he did at the beginning of the season, so we have that. But to your point, I think in combined yards for sure, I think he can easily get to 700, 800 yards because I do think he's going to get 2 or 3 jet sweeps a game or some kind of gadget play. They're going to put him out there to stretch the defense, and if they get burned. And I do think he's a little more of a complete receiver. The problem is he's 165 pounds, and you run 4.2, the fastest in the NFL, and some 210-pound safety comes over and hits you at 4.5. That is a huge impact. So I hope that the guy stays healthy, and you know what? He may be Barry Sanders slippery, and when he takes a hit, he never takes a full shot. Don't know, haven't seen enough of him to know, but that's kind of where I'm at. Does he have the talent to blow up? Absolutely. Is he Tyreek Hill too? No. 2 different body types, two different players.
Definitely body type, different.
Speed
players.
is the only thing that those 2 have in common, at least from what I see.
Right. Yeah, and Worthy didn't bring the baggage that Tyreek came with either out of college.
Yeah, not at all, right?
Slate came from.
He came from where?
Texas.
Is that where he came from? Something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember where he came from.
It was somewhere. I think it was Oklahoma State. Then he got kicked out of there, and then he went someplace else.
Like that.
Anyway, that's cool. Worthy, Kelsey, Mahomes, Chiefs. Doesn't matter what they do as long as they get a Super Bowl, right?
Right.
So next week we bring on the Bengals. The Bengals. So, that's Joe Burrow talking smack. That is Jamar Chase talking smack. We don't have Snead anymore, but we still have McDuffie and the rest of the cast. They are, coming to our house. That's always a good thing, Burrowhead, as he likes to say. I think they're a wounded duck. I don't think they're all that great in the first place. They already lost their first game. All the drama that Jamar Chase has already been bringing up with that team. I mean, T. Higgins was pissed off all year, all off season. Then they took care of him, and then Jamar Chase got pissed off. So now he's sitting out. That whole team's a mess.
Took care of him. They just put a franchise tag on him, didn't they?
Well, that's what I mean. But I mean, at least they got him to come in and play, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He didn't play with week 1. Higgins set out.
He did.
Yeah, he's injured.
So
I'm not sure how serious, but somehow
right.
He popped up on the injury report the week before the game.
They're a mess, but they're all going to show up this week.
It's a bad franchise.
Yeah, always has been.
Historically, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They were cheap. Surprised they paid Joe.
Yeah.
That they did, but, now can Joe stay healthy? He's got a track record.
He never has. Why would you think, it's one of those things, when something keeps happening over and over again, why would you think any different?
Right. They're 1-5 under Zach Taylor on opening day. I mean, I don't know what they're doing in training camp and preseason, but sure ain't preparing them for week 1.
Nobody prepares them like Andy. He actually believes that you got to do something. Now, he didn't play that many people in, I think Patrick and them had 24 snaps all preseason, but that's 24 more than Joe Burrow had.
Yeah, I think he had 3 maybe this year, which was 3 more than he had in
any other
years.
Preseason, right?
So,
the guy never plays.
So I think it's a bad formula, but that's you do you. You try to catch up as the season goes along. If that's what you guys want to have to do every year, go for it. I do those uniforms though. I heard referred to as orange traffic cone uniforms. All orange, hideous.
So
Absolutely
what do you
hideous.
think you're gonna see? So what do you think? Tell me what you think. What's your projection for the game? How do you think it's gonna go down?
I think the Chiefs are going to win again. They've won the last two against Cincinnati. Actually, we're undefeated since they uttered the words Barrowhead. They're 0-2 against us since then. Now, admittedly, Joe was injured for the last one, and we got their backup last season, but we won that one, and we beat them in the AFC Championship the year before that. I think we're going to handle them this year. I think they've lost a lot on the defense. I think they're a little bit of a mess, chemistry-wise, with Jamar Chase kind of standoffish against the team. Was practicing, wasn't practicing. Zach Taylor said, "Yeah,
Being a diva.
Yeah, be a diva." Zach Taylor, he'll practice the next day. He didn't practice the next day. It's just a mess down there, and I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they want to implode,
Who day?
Yeah, who day with the empty trophy case.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm good with this matchup, and I'd much rather play them now than late in the season like we normally have to.
Yeah, well, probably won't have to play them in the playoffs again.
I don't see them making it. I didn't have them making it. They could surprise me, but I don't have them making it. I think there's just too many other good teams.
I'm like you. I don't see the Chiefs losing this game. It's a game they can lose. Let's say this.
Absolutely.
That this is a game. This is a game that they absolutely can lose if they don't go in there prepared to take care of business. If they go in there and they act like Cincinnati's a wounded duck or whatever, they'll get their ass kicked. But that's not the Chiefs. Like, it's a home game. Cincinnati.
Somebody from Cincinnati going to run their mouth this week.
The mayor. Somebody's going to talk shit.
Yeah, so yeah, they'll be plenty motivated, and I don't think the Chiefs lack any motivation when it comes to the Bengals.
I don't believe so either. So for me, it's Chiefs 35, Bengals 27.
Yeah, I'm going to go 31-21.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Hey man, either way, I like it. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What we need to get the line so we can see if they cover.
Right.
Well, I want to thank everybody listening to our inaugural podcast here on
Sportz Asylum.
I know. I want to thank everybody for listening to Sportz Asylum. This is our inaugural podcast. More to come. We're going to try and do this every week. We're going to get it out. Every week we're going to get a little bit better, so hang on with us. You
can only go up from here.
Right. We love sports. We love what we're doing. We wouldn't do this if it wasn't just out of passion. I mean, because we know we're going to get beat up and trolled and everything that comes with, participating on the internet. But we don't care. We're, like I said, we're two best friends from a long time that, it's going to take a lot more than that to get us to quit doing what we're doing. So thanks for listening.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Have a good week. Not bad.
Yeah.
For being as unprepared and never doing it before.
Once we got our sea legs,
Mm-hmm.